Just touching base on this, except I'm just saying, this is my personal opinion, except defense, majority of the other patents, maybe if the Western world can share it down the road in coming decades, that would be something that is going to be useful for developing countries like us?
Immensely useful. It's happened before. If you look at in the 70s and 80s, what happened in the pharmaceutical industry with the generics manufacturing, that means these were the copycats, right, to some extent. Part of the reason that the developing world was able to provide some of these pharmaceuticals to its people was because they were not part of the WTO regime, which then only limited patented companies which had the patents to produce. Why did India become one of the largest generics manufacturers in the world? It became so because we were not a signatory to the WTO.
Give me a ballpark figure. When did this happen? In the 70s?
This is in the late 70s, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I mean, if we did not do generics manufacturing in the way that we did, the cost of pharmaceuticals for the developing world
skyrocketed.
Yeah, would be inaccessible to most of our populations, right? And the Western world for many years pushed back on that a hell of a lot, but it was one of the places in which actually the global South came together. And I use it as a classic example as I think about today in the future, in terms of being powerful enough to be able to ask for the rights that you deserve, right? In the context of appropriateness. I'm not asking for any more. What I'm asking for is an equitable mix of the way that you look at how we are in the world where we are today. And the same way the industrialized nations, without thinking about the climate, only thinking about the self, were able to drive their political and economic agenda for the last 100 years. We are saying if you want us to be more sensitive, help us be more sensitive, because you have the ability to do so. If I had the ability to do so, I would, right? Because that's the right and moral thing to do, because after all, we are one world and we are one family in so many ways. And so for us who are neighboring countries, for example, so many of these things are interdependent and interconnected. So if we don't look at this in a cohesive way, find places of common ground versus things that separate us, I'm not sure it's the right world that we want to leave for the people who are going to come after us.
Thank you very much for watching us on YouTube. Make sure that you also listen to us on Spotify.